Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the Screenwriting Step-by-Step Project, episode number 52. My name is Glenn Gers. I am coming to you every Monday through Friday, if I can, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to walk you through how I write a script, starting a drama pilot from a rough idea and taking it bit by bit all the way through to a finished draft of the script. Just doing this so that you can see someone do it does not mean it's the only way to do it, does not mean it's the right way to do it, certainly does not mean it's the best way to do it, just the best way I'm doing it for me. Hopefully it will help you figure out what the best way is for you. If you have a question and you are live, please ask it here in the chat. I will try and get to it. If you have a question and you are watching this on recorded data, please feel free to still ask a question. You can go to writingforscreens.com, which is my website. And there's a contact me button just all over the place. And that will take you to a form that will send me an email, and that's all groovy. But if you don't want to do that, you can also leave a comment or a question in the comments of this video or any video on the channel. That's how that works. That is the boilerplate intro. And now let's get to work. Oh, hello, hello, hello. There's a whole bunch of people here. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, Wolf. Hi, Matt. Hi, 99. Hi, Matthew. Good to see all of you. Let's get to work. If you recall, we were last working on the scene that introduces Madeline. And I got into it, but then I stopped because there were questions and because I had done enough for the day. And this is the deal. This is how this works. You simply have to chug through every scene piece by piece, moment by moment, getting something down. What I've got down so far for these scenes is half-digested junk. That's okay. You just need to get it sketched out, sketched in, roughed on the page. This is the rough draft, and I cannot emphasize enough how rough it is. Basically, I'm just clunking down some basic ideas that I will later go back when I can look at them with perspective, when I can read the whole thing through and go, well, that's garbage, but at least I now know what everything is. I've got a feel for it. I've begun the process. That's what we are doing now. Howdy, this is Gitchy. Howdy, Ellen. And howdy, Alex. And howdy, Foamheart. Just everybody's here. People are here. This is all lovely. Okay, so cool. Like a beer. I am not sure how it's like a beer, but in many ways it is like a beer. So I'm going to go with that. Yes, if you want to tell me more about the beer analogy, I don't mind. But in the meantime, what I did was I started to discover the idea here of, could you change your settings? I never get notifications. I don't know what to do about that. The notifications come and go randomly, apparently. I would love to do that. I don't know how. This is just a technical thing. I do this through a software called Ecamm, Ecamm Live. And Ecamm, so basically I have it preset to just click a button and I go live through Ecamm, which means that the setting of the the thumbnail and a couple of other things don't seem to happen. I don't pre-schedule them because then I don't know how to turn on Ecamm. There's only so much technical knowledge I have about this, so I am going to try and I will see what I can do about that. I will do some research. I am sorry that nobody gets the notifications. I do apologize for that. Chugging down a beer. Yes, I guess. Sure. Why not? um, I think of it more as building up something, but chugging it down also works. Um, so yeah, as far as the notifications, I gotta tell you, uh, the I will do what I can. Some of it apparently is the YouTube itself. Just like the other day, I could not post my thumbnail for a while. Just I don't know. Um, I'm just hanging in by a thread here, managing to get myself to sit down and do this most afternoons. So let's do that because people are watching this later. People are watching this in the future. We are speaking to the future, really, and that's and I for to have them sit and watch me fumble is a sad thing. Um, clugging, yeah, chugging along. I meant more like a train, actually, like chug. We're moving along the tracks. That was the chugging I had in mind. Um, a longer intro, yeah, exactly. That's exactly the thing I'm afraid of because of this whole question of how many people are watching it later, recorded, and so they're clicking on the recording and then they have to watch me stall for a while. I'm uneasy. Let me think on it. Let me see what I can do. But in the meantime, let's write, because that is the thing that if I don't do a lot of, this is going to take years, which may be entertaining, but is also terrifying. So okay. So the way that this worked is Madeline gets on I invented this person named Brenda to offer her a promotion, and I made her do it spontaneously because it was more fun in the elevator. So Madeline heads out, and Brenda stops her. Struggling. That this is not a good phrase for it, but I just wanted to say that she catches up with her. Yeah. You're getting a promotion. Yes. Oh, by the way, yeah. Let me just. Matthew is saying sometimes I work at the scene, work at the end of the scene, and work backwards, and I know where you're heading. Yes, always. That is 100% correct. In fact, basically, that is what I have done by writing an outline. Here's the outline. I have essentially done that because what I've done here is I've figured out the point of the scene. The whole purpose of this is that I name the essential action of the scene. In this case, her action is turning down a promotion. That is the point of this scene. That is the end of this scene. The idea that this scene is working towards this concept that she will be offered a promotion and go, nah, I'm fine. That's the point of the scene. So I knew that. And that is exactly what I have done. In order to get to that, I now have to have somebody offer her the promotion. Tell them I told you. Spoiler alert. That's fun. I'm not sure exactly where that'll go. This is the thing. Sometimes you just you get lines. You start to do lines, and I'm not sure which one. Like which one I will use. Some of them I will throw away, and some of them are just variations on the same thing. Sometimes I just throw them in. But I like the spoiler alert. I like that she's self-conscious. to say something. Madeline. Wow. Okay, by the way, you guys are chatting and I'm not, so let me just quickly take it. Here's what happens. I start writing. That's what I'm doing. I'm writing. I'm trying to just get a scene going, start to get a flow of dialogue. And also, basically, it's really important when you're writing scenes to start to put yourself into the mind of each character, which is what I'm doing. I'm sort of thinking, what does Brenda want to say? What is she, what's going on with her? And then how does Madeline feel? And what does she say? And the main thing is you just throw that down. I don't even have it in the right order. Okay. All right. Beginning to end to beginning. Okay. I'm going to let you guys discuss this amongst yourselves. What is the conflict in this particular scene? Yeah, that's a fair question. Here's what's, like I said, this scene is about Madeline turning down a promotion. The purpose of this scene is to give us an essential beginning view of Madeline. And the thing we want to know about Madeline is that she is, I think I said it here. Oh, I didn't say it here. Yes. Oh, here. She is content, optimistic, and safe. Competent, unflappable. The point of this scene is to let us to meet Madeline. We are meeting Madeline. She is about to get her life disrupted. So we want to meet her before that happens to understand how secure and safe and calm she is, because we're going to see that all go down the tubes. So the purpose of this scene is to see her turn down a promotion. That is the key action. In order to see that, we have to see somebody offer her the promotion. It's just sort of logic. She can't turn it down if nobody offers it. So what I conceived of is the character of Brenda is someone who works in human resources and decides to sort of sneak preview tomorrow's promotion meeting when she says, you're going to get a promotion. And then she's startled when Madeline turns it down, says she doesn't want it. What is the conflict? The conflict is essentially that Brenda, representing the company, is offering her advancement, and she is saying, no, I like where I am. The conflict is between somebody who's offering something and someone who's turning it down. The person who's offering it thinks it's a great thing and is surprised and startled. But Madeline, the main thing about this is that Madeline is happy. Madeline is calm and confident and happy and does not need more. That's the cool thing. Deserves a promotion. Gets a promotion. Okay. This is just the details of the promotion. So I'm going to just plunk that in here. Director of Analyst Services. Like I said, it's very important that you guys know nothing I am writing here is set in stone. I am just trying to get a rough idea of things that feel good, feel casual and conversational and funny, and so that, like I said, this is the rough draft. I'm going to go back over it later and refine it, and then refine it again and again and again. Okay. So this is have to take it. Brenda, I mean, you've worked here for 14 years. Worked your way up. The first woman in your department. The first female supervisor. And you don't have a single complaint against you. Takes this in. Takes this all in. She takes a deep breath. So basically what I'm doing is building up this scene where Madeline is nonplussed. She is surprised. So Brenda is filling the vacuum of Madeline not jumping up and down by explaining herself. And Brenda says, so the key to this scene is that the key here is that they're in very, very different mental spaces. Brenda has been working on this paperwork and knows the future for Madeline and is assured that Madeline will be excited, so she is gushing. Madeline is resisting the gush. So Brenda is expecting Madeline to be happy. Madeline is trying not to offend or upset Brenda because she recognizes that Brenda thinks this is a great thing. So that's the vibe here, is that each one is actually trying to be considerate of the other, where both are actually telling the other bad news. Okay. Could I say no? Of course. Why would you want to say no? Why would... So this is just a back and forth. What I've been doing, what you're watching me do is I'm putting myself into each one's shoes, basically. I'm doing it very fast in my head, but I'm saying, how would Madeline express this? And there's a lot of ways. I'm trying to think of the ways I think are funny and in character. What's in character for a character who doesn't exist yet? What I think and what I make happen, because that's how you make a character. You make a character by giving them a moment, and each moment defines them further. And once you've piled up a bunch of these moments, then you got a character. The moments have to be coherent and consistent with the story. But what I'm trying to find out right now is, like, what is Madeline's style? What is her voice? Brenda's got a style and a voice, but that's okay. She's not going to show up after this scene. Madeline has to have a voice, and what I'm trying to get here is a relatively kind, calm. The main thing is just that she's got to be firm in her beliefs, but not pushy, aggressive, or in any way hostile. This is not quite right. I like where I am. I like my job. But director, whatever it is. Now, what I'm doing right now is I am spitballing in my head different reasons, because the fact is she has a lot of reasons, and she wouldn't necessarily say the true reason, which is safety. I don't know. So she's saying, I don't know, more meetings, right? More pressure, less actually doing the thing. Doing the thing. But director, she's just like, no, but you know, it's like director. This is, I'm going to need to finesse this a little, but what I'm trying to get here is that Brenda's like, what? Suddenly become awkward. Not awkward, awkward. There we go, I can see now. This has suddenly become awkward. Thank you. Maybe you can see it. What I'm kind of doing here is trying to I just play out the scene in my head. I am imagining. I can see this. I know that. By the way, this is really important. This is something you should know. I can see the scene in my head. I can see the light. I can see the revolving doors and the elevators opening and the people walking past. I can see the architecture. None of that is going to work out like I see it. None of it. Okay? I have no idea what location they're actually going to find. They don't know. You can't, there's no way they're going to build this. It's just a one scene. So basically what's happening is I am imagining this moment. I'm imagining these people. I try not to imagine the actual actors, particular actors. Sometimes I sort of get into a thing where I picture one particular actor, and that's cool. But at the moment, I don't have actors. They're just characters. They're people. And I truly advise you, if possible, to not think about actors, but think about people. Think about Madeline. Make Madeline in your mind. Make Brenda in your mind. Because you'll be surprised at who ends up playing them if you are so lucky as to get people to play them. But it won't be what you pictured. And it'll be great. That's the cool thing. If you create a character, this is what actors and directors want you to do. They want you to create a person. Then they will do their version of that person. If you create an actor playing a person, then only that actor can do it. And that's not what they do. Remember, like a great actor does not say, I am, Robert De Niro playing so-and-so. He's thinking, I am so-and-so. In that moment, he is trying to be that character, not themselves. And so therefore, the greatest gift that you can give the rest of the people making the movie is to imagine these people, to know these people, to not try and force how they're going to do these people, but to not try to tell them their job, which includes casting. So anyway, okay, so now don't tell them. Here's it. Okay, so thank you. So so here's what's going on. I'm writing a scene. So Madeline kindly is like, nah, no, I'm good. Actually, it's really funny. That's funny. I'm good. I'm good is one of the I'm good. That's perfect. This is what I like. The stuff comes to you. The phrase "I'm good" is a you guys don't know this. It's a relatively new thing. People were not saying "I'm good" when I was growing up, and the idea that "I'm good" is a way of saying no is actually sort of puzzling. But in this case, it's fascinating because Madeline is not a stiff, starchy. It's very important that she is not doing this out of a negativity. She's doing this out of a like, I'm cool, I'm fine. Um, and the idea that Brenda is shaken by this is partly just, it's like if you're pushing on a door, if you're running downhill or something, and something changes, it's not even that you don't like the thing that's happening. Brenda doesn't have a lot invested in this. She's just like, good employee, good woman, why not reward her? Um, anyway, sorry. So so that's what this scene is. Now I have made this scene long. This scene is beginning to run a long time, and I am sure down the line I am going to have to cut it. But for the moment, I'm not going to cut it because I like it. Um, yeah. The beat. Oh, this is good. This is good. Beat. As Ellen and I have discussed in comments, there's many meanings to the word beat in screenwriting. Some of which have nothing to do with anything that makes any sense. A lot of people call an outline a beat sheet, and therefore they think a beat is a scene. No, I call no on that, because a scene is a scene. It's called a scene. Call it a scene. Don't call it a beat, because if you do that, then you have nothing to call the things within scenes, the little movements within scenes. That's what I call a beat. Here, we're going to talk to you directly. Think of it this way. Within every scene, there are subsections. There are movements within the scene. Like in this, Brenda starts with one thing. Madeline asks her a question. She doesn't immediately say no, and then so there's and then there's a negotiation after Madeline starts to say no. Those are sections within the scene where the action is changing a little. The action begins when Brenda says, "I got this good news," and then Madeline goes, "Wait a second, what?" Okay, so action one, then action two is the reaction, which is not what Brenda expects. And then, so Brenda tries to explain, and then Madeline turns her down. Okay, these are each sections within the scene. I call those beats. It's a method acting term. It means an action within the scene, and a scene can have many, many beats in it. But in the dialogue, hold on, there we go. In the dialogue, you'll find I put this thing beat. See it? Beat. That means taking a beat, like a rhythm thing. And I know that Ellen is a part-time musician because she told me so. And so it's taking a beat. Boom. Just a rhythm thing. A small pause. If I said pause, that would be like dead stop. And it's not a dead stop. It's a fractional stop. It's a little bit of a change of thought. In fact, sometimes a beat isn't really a time thing. It's a mental adjustment thing. For instance, in this, she says no or nah. Yeah, nah. And then beat, thank you though, because, okay, those are two separate actions. One is no, and the other is, I'm sorry, I hope that isn't a problem, or I want to be polite about this. So that's what the beat is. This one, I believe, I'm putting a beat here because I think she's not getting the response she wants, and she wants to make, so she's filling a void in Brenda not speaking. but the main thing is this beat is an adjustment within dialogue. Very often it has a little bit of a pause, but really what it means is new section of this speech. This is a speech of 3 sentences. Is that making sense? You guys get it? So yeah, the thing about pause, the only thing about pause is that a pause seems longer. A pause seems like a stop, a hole in the scene. And so I like to have the option to have both beat and pause. And sometimes you have like momentary pause or confused pause or whatever. Anyway, that's it. This is not like an official thing. It's just a thing. It's a thing I've seen done and I like it, so I do it. Okay, so I'm going to now take a minute. Wait, I need to finish the scene. Then I'm going to go to your comments. I like do. I like the work. I like analyzing this stuff. I like routine. I like working with them. I am, by the way, now over-explaining. She's not going to say all of this, but right now I'm just trying to get everything out of my head that she could say. Brenda, processing. She's processing. Of course, no one is going to force you to take a promotion. Force you to take a promotion. No one's going to force you to take a promotion. I just... yeah, I don't want to know. I'm not doing that. At this point, I know this scene has gone on way too long. This scene will never go this long. So I'm gonna stop it. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, this scene has now gone on way too long, so I can stop writing for a second and go back and look at all of your comments and try to talk about them. First of all, Matthew, think about how you can visually show Madeline's characteristics. Yes, but we did that in the last scene. You may not remember, but in the last scene, we were showing her in her office closing down for the day and being very efficient and organized and clean and calm. So yes, I agree. It is good to be visual if you can be. Jose says, I always fear that my characters are flat. Well, to a certain extent, don't fear that because here, let me talk. Don't fear. What good does it fear? Write them and see if they're flat. They may not be as flat as you fear. Um, Also, yeah, I mean, that's one. I can't tell you for sure that they're not flat. I haven't read them, but I can tell you that there is absolutely no value to operating out of fear. For any of you out there, if you're saying like, "Oh, I'm afraid that this isn't going to be funny," well, the worst thing it can be is to not exist. Make it as funny as I think some of this is funny, and I'm going to make it funnier later. But right now, the main thing is if I spend my time thinking, "Oh, I fear that this is bad," I'm not going to write anything. And the odds are it's not as bad as you think. So you might as well do that because then you can make it better. And that is the process. I am writing a rough draft. A great amount of it is crap. Um, the thing that I have that you guys don't have is a lack of fear. And there's a couple reasons. The main reason is I have just done this a lot. If you had done it 50 times, you would feel as comfortable as I do. And by 50 times, I mean 50 finished scripts. I've been doing this for 40 years. If I'm not comfortable at it at this point, something's wrong with me. So what I would say to you is just do it. Do a lot of it. And then the thing you fear, you can figure out specifically. Like if they are flat, you can make them more interesting. But you can't do that if you don't put them down flat as they are. How flat will they be? You'll see. Okay. I can't not say thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, Madeline's conflict is typical of this, and what I want to do is build to that. In fact, right now she seems ambivalent, but later on we're going to develop her character, peel the onion, as they like to say, and reveal that beneath this calm is ambivalence, that she does have mixed feelings. But you can't present everything in a character at once. You present piece by piece and they develop. And you save some of the good stuff for after you think you know them. Like in Jaws, Quint. Quint just seems like an asshole at the beginning. He's just a mean guy. And then when they're all out there together and they all get drinking and he talks about his past with the sharks, we understand that he's kind of an asshole about sharks because he had some bad experiences with sharks. Don't want to spoil more than that for those of you who hadn't seen Jaws. And seriously, why have you not seen Jaws? It's a very well-made movie. It's old, but there's some fine craftsmanship in there. That's just well-written script. Anyway, the point is, if you started with introducing that character and saying, this is who I am, this is where I come from, let me tell you my backstories that you know going on, that would suck. You have to build the character and make moments of revelation that matter to the other characters or to what's going to happen. That's a point at which these people are starting to work together. So Madeline is going to reveal that her calm, her not wanting to change, is actually kind of fear-based itself. But at the moment, we don't see that. Hey, I don't know how to pronounce it. Fire Diova. Anyway, hi. I'm so glad. And change is hard. And that is part of what this is about. That has become one of the main themes because both Madeline and Norman are going to be dealing with that subject. So I am sticking it in here. And it's funny, you don't even think about that. Like when I came up with the scene of turning down a promotion, I wasn't thinking about the theme of change. I was just thinking, how can we show an element of her character which I needed to show, which was that she wants things to stay the same, which I guess if you think about it is about change. Duh. Anyway, the point is, what you will find is when you are writing, you write in the moment, but having made certain choices, like that. I know Madeline's story is about a woman who was scared 30 years ago and locked herself down, and now she is having that disrupted. It comes out. The themes come out in the choice of the scene of her being offered a change and turning it down, which is a funny scene, and it's an establishing scene. It's also establishing a theme without me even thinking about it. Okay. So I'm just going to take out some of this because See, some of this we don't need anymore, so I'm just taking care of it. All right, all right, all right, all right. Yeah. In the office car park, I had thought about that actually. Um, well, first of all, that wouldn't be true. Madeline's got a decent job. Madeline's happy. Madeline's safe. Madeline is right in the middle lane. So she doesn't have an old rust bus. She should have a nice car, a nice job. Everything is cool. She is not afraid of change so much that she's holding herself back. And the other thing, the reason I didn't choose a garage, because I thought about it, the car park, is car parks are echoing, concrete, creepy places. They traditionally are places where people have sinister meetings or get murdered. So I didn't want that vibe. I wanted this vibe to be the most important thing about this scene is that it's establishing Madeline and Madeline's world, and that is the corporate world, a world she likes. So I wanted this to be pretty. I wanted it to be, like I said, I imagine a beautiful lobby with lots of nice light and well-dressed people, and it's all nice. You know, it's bourgeois, but nice, and that is Madeline. So that's why I made that choice. There's so many choices to be made, and the important thing to do is to know what is the scene about, okay? This scene is about Madeline. It is about Madeline in her life. This is the whole point. And once you know the one thing you absolutely have to get across in each scene, all the other decisions start to just fall into place. And I just know I'm not going to put it in a car park because that's too creepy. So there you go. Hey, I'm so glad you guys are here. Brenda sounds like she has some interest. Yes. Yes. Declining production is not so out of this world, but the idea is that we are establishing also once again the corporate world. The idea that you are climbing the ladder, and what's fun about Madeline is she likes her rung on the ladder just fine. Brenda does have some interest, something at stake here, and I'm going to have to make sure that that is seen clearly in this moment when she confesses her this. This is going to have to be more personal. I'm going to have to show that Brenda is rooting for her she's sort of projecting. In other words, Brenda is a woman working in this corporate world who likes certain qualities in people, and Madeline has those qualities. She is, I tried to make clear that this is partly female in the workplace, but also that Madeline is clearly a good person. She's a good boss. This is rough. I'm going to refine it to make it more oomphy, that Brenda is choosing to back Madeline, choosing to care about Madeline because of qualities that Madeline has, which we want to hear about. Okay. Learn more about Madeline if she takes a separate tactic first. Yes, I think we will. Well, actually, no. I think what's actually funny about Madeline is that she decides quickly, that she has no real. I'm trying to see here exactly how she does it. Yeah, so she hears about it and she's like, wow. She's processing. And then she's sort of gentle about it. She's like, do I have to, like, is this required, kind of thing? Like, Madeline respects the universe. She respects the business. She understands that she is not all powerful and cannot boss everyone around, which is the whole point of this scene. I obviously, like I said, this is a rough scene. I'm going to fidget with it and get the byplay down. But right now, I would say, no, this is cool. Finally understanding the concept of beats. Yay. Okay. The tricky thing about beats, once again, is they have multiple uses and multiple meanings. sometimes, there's not a specific mechanical, mathematical use of this. It is it's like color. It's like a shading. You do it by your instincts, and the more familiar you are with the tools, with like these are called parentheticals. And sometimes I put a parenthetical, which is an emotional thing, partly to suggest she's struggling with this. But I didn't want to say beat because it's not a pace thing; it's a mental choice. So there's a lot of things you can do with these. One of the main things you can do with them is keep them short. Don't do long descriptions in these parentheticals, my opinion. I know a friend of mine does them, and he's a great writer. Okay. She might not want to declare that she doesn't want a promotion. And say, yes, except if you think about it, first of all, we don't want to bring up Jake because there is no Jake, and we're not going to need a Jake. And we have so little. This is important. You have so little room in a script. You have to be very careful what you add in for what purpose. In this particular case, I am having her hesitate before she says no. I'm just not going. I'm going to be careful about how I do it to keep her in the moment with Brenda, and not bring in excess stuff which we don't need to hear about. So yes, those are all possible things, but my instinct is when you bring in outside information, when you bring in extra people or choices that have nothing to do with the moment right now, which is she's being offered something and she's not sure how to respond to it, I'm just sticking right in there. She likes her lunch break. Yes, yeah. I read somewhere that dialogue beats aren't used much anymore. I think the article cited because the instructions of the actor wouldn't allow for creativity. Yes, I would definitely disagree. I'm going to disagree big time on this one. First of all, like as far as like are they being used, I am sure if you statistically looked at all scripts, you'd be fine. There's plenty of them. People individually might say, I'm not going to do that anymore, and that's cool, and you should always make your own choices. But as far as whether or not it's an instruction for the actor and doesn't allow for creativity, that I would definitely disagree with because you can't get much less instructional than beat. The whole point about beat is that it's very neutral. In fact, the thing I worry about it would be when I do things like baffled, because but honestly, you can go too far with don't tell the actors what to do. If you don't tell them like when they exit and enter, if you don't tell them what they're thinking when the character has many choices, you're not telling them how to do it. You're simply telling them what's happening for the person, the character, not the actor. If you were to say squints at the sunlight and purses her lips, that would be an awful lot of telling the actor what to do. Beat, I don't buy that one. I would say fight me on that one. Whoever, if somebody doesn't want to use them, they don't have to. I'm not saying like you have to use beats, but I wouldn't say that there's anything bad about using beats. And once again, how many you use, that's it. Could be a problem. If every line has beat, and I use a lot. But thank you, Castor, for asking that because it's an interesting question. There are so many, I do it this way, they do it that way. There's no rules. I personally, for instance, this is a big one for me, and I'm just going on way too long here, but slug lines. There are people who bold their slug lines, including some of my favorite writers. Ryan Johnson bolds his slug lines. Now, here's another thing. A lot of times they don't do it; the production company does it. But the answer for me is there is not a rule about this. You can bold your slug lines or not bold your slug lines. I don't do it because I don't want to call attention to the least important part of the script. Sublines are the least important part of a script. So I don't like the idea of putting them in bold. I think people put them in bold because they want to make the distinction between scenes bolder, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. What is there to lose? That is such a large question. So I'm not sure what it referred to. Yes, everybody has their own way of defining a character. Everyone will think of each character as their, like, if I told you all, there's 22 people watching right now. If I said to you, all of you go rewrite this scene, and don't, I mean, you can if you want, but I wouldn't bother. But the point is, every single one, if you guys didn't talk to each other, you went off and you wrote this scene, the differences would be remarkable. You would be surprised at how because everybody has their own language. And that is why we have more than one movie in the world. Because if they didn't, then, you'd get it right and it would be done, Every single possibility is possible. This is my language. I'm writing this particular language. I'm making my choices. It's my script. That's how it works. Down the line, some actor or director or producer could say, I don't like the way they say that line and I might have to change it. But right now, first draft, you go with your instincts. You go with the language that comes into your head. I think you've been watching. I'm just trying to find a language that is real to the moment. That like the most important thing about creative writing is to not only be back judging and thinking, but to actually create. Just make shit up. Make stuff up that comes out of your head because you feel like, oh, she would be funny if she did this. Or, oh, she doesn't want to say that, so she says this. It just comes out. And that is valid. It's important. If it doesn't come out differently for everybody, then there is no such thing as different scripts. So, there we go. Yes, how much you learn about your characters, you get them talking. Exactly. When I started, I did not know who Brenda was, and I knew who I wanted Madeline to be, but I didn't know how she was going to talk. Okay. I will briefly answer this, and then I'm going to stop because it's so long. We're talking so long. I know it's fun, but I just keep thinking about these videos piling up in an hour apiece. Anyway, the character arc that she goes through, we can actually look at. Hold on. Because I wrote this down. Because I believe in it. Madeline. If you remember, we have an overview, and in each of the overview sections, so Madeline is, she's going to want to change her life to grow and to be better. What, I believe up here, I tell her story better. Yes. So basically Madeline's story is, she is a woman who, when we meet her, is happy in her life. She is safe. She is content. But something from her past, when she was much more adventurous, is going to come back because her relationship with George. Her relationship with George happened when she was 19, 20 years old. And she got into this marriage and she was in a punk band with him, and she was, and it was vibrant and lively and eventually scary and dangerous and difficult. And so she left and she shut down the vibrant and adventurous part of herself and found happiness in the safety and security of a very, very narrow life. And there is much to be said for that. That's one of the things I want to make sure is that we don't say, she's bad to have done that. She just couldn't get away with it for too long. This story begins when that old part of her life comes back in the form of George's murder. And George has named her to be his next of kin or his executor of his will, and therefore she is suddenly plunged into all these questions about what he was doing and his attempt to get a serial killer, none of which is of any interest to her. But because she gets involved with all these people, with Norman and Xena and the group, she ends up becoming the target of the serial killer, because she is part of the group who is hunting the killer, and the killer has to stop them. So all of a sudden she finds herself forced into adventure, and that's her arc. Her story is that she gets forced into adventure, and she finds herself able eventually to take the adventure, to solve the mystery, to fight the criminals, and to find love. So that's her arc. And with that, I'm going to say, I'll try and make sense. Are there any consequences if you refuse it? Yes. To a certain extent, we have to not overthink it. The answer is there are obviously no consequences because we're not going to do any consequences. And the answer is, in truth, no. You can turn down a promotion. It actually happens a lot in police and military stories, where you have somebody who does not want to become an officer. They want to stay with the people on the ground. But basically, the answer is, when you're writing a scene, the scene has a purpose. And the purpose of this scene is to show us a side of Madeline. That's the purpose of the scene. And if you're not careful, you will write a whole universe-building justification for her company's desires and her needs, and we don't care. Nobody cares. We don't need to know that. All we need to know is that she's this person who has this moment when she makes this choice, and we kind of like her for it. That's all we need. You can't overthink every moment, or you won't write a good story. Stories are made up of moments advancing from each other, changing from each other. If you put too much information into any scene, the audience can't slog through it. It's too much to think about. So that's actually a really important lesson. For those of you who made it through the hour here, that's what this is about. The scene has a single main purpose. It's got lots of little things going on within it, but the main purpose is to meet Madeline and understand who she is right before she gets knocked out of her safe zone. Okay. No, don't use fade in and fade out. Only use fade in and fade out if you need a fade in and fade out, and you don't. Watch a show or movie. How many times do you actually see a fade in and fade out? Fade in and fade out slows things down. But the main thing is, do not describe technical transitions. You are not going to do it. You're not going to be sitting there with the fade button on the editing machine. You are going to write a scene, and they will decide how they want to get in and out of it. That's their job. Your job is to create an action with characters and have it play out really cool so they think of all the fun ways they can start it or end it. Okay. Hi, Guy. Hello. And okay. Thank you. Yeah, no, it was a great question, actually. It's cool. Yes. It's fun. It is all good. Okay, so I'm going to go because it's late. We've been talking for a long time, and it's actually been really fun, and I hope it's helpful. It seems helpful to me. I feel like we're really getting into what writing a script is, and also it's fascinating for me to see the things that I take for granted, like knowing how not to let a scene sprawl. So cool. I'm really glad to get that lesson across, because it never would have occurred to me to have to explain that. Yeah, you got to be really careful with every scene that you don't put too much into it. There's just not a lot of room. Like even the scene I wrote, it's too long. Okay, guys, I see your thanks and I appreciate them. You guys are cool. I really am having fun with this. I'm going to go.